What up, guys? Rancer890. Welcome for more iRacing. Haven't done a track guide since Sonoma, but now that we're approaching week 4, I think. I think it's week 4. Or week 3. Either way, as you can see here, this week the IndyCars are at the majestic circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium. If you're a racing fan, especially if you follow road racing or you're from Europe, Spa really does not need any introduction. It's home to the Formula 1 Grand Prix, it's home to the 24 Hours of Spa. It's a track where there's just been a lot of famous moments, like 1999, I believe, F1, that rain race where everything just went crazy in that race. So that's F1, but now we're, as you can see, with the power of sim racing, we can mix and match different car track combinations. So even though in our lifetime IndyCar will probably never be at Spa due to varying political influences and whatnot, at least in the sim on iRacing we can at least experience racing at this magnificent racetrack. So Spa this week will be 21 laps long. It's a relatively short race. Fuel usage will still be quite high. You'll probably use a bit over 30 gallons for the duration of the race. Setup wise, there's a lot of give and take. There's a nice mix of low, medium. Yeah, I think there's all three different types of corners are on this track, so you kind of have to set up the car to have a bit of a compromise between the various different types of corners on the track. So yeah, I don't think there's really any much to say. Last couple videos there's been a lot of rambling, so I'm gonna try and cut it a bit short here and bring you my fastest lap at Spa so far. Okay, that was a lap 56, very low 56 lap time. Probably get into the 55s. I think I can definitely get into 55s. Just couldn't really do it on track yet, but the speed is there, the setup is there, so yeah. So as usual, weather is default. Track usage is 45% moderate. So let's have a look at Spa. Fuel usage, well, I'm pretty low on fuel, but even like at the fuel load that this set is set at, it's like around 33%. So the set is at 15 gallons, so I'm at 5.34. So still, like even though it's a lot less, lap times are around the same. It was beginning of the stint, it was maybe half a second slower or so. So this is Grand Prix pits, so the lap technically starts after the bus stop. So let's first corner, La Source. So I'm technically braking I'm starting to brake right here. So right around the 100 meter board is when I start thinking about braking. Maybe you can push it to the midpoint between the 50 and 100 is the 75. Probably wouldn't go to the 50. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on your braking capability, but if you're just learning, start at the 100, then keep inching a bit closer till you find a right groove. So here, you turn the wheel a lot. Not as much as you would turn at Sonoma, but it's almost as much. Make sure that here I kind of, it's very easy. This is pretty deceptive. I find this one of the most challenging, one of the more challenging corners, just because if you go in too shallow, it's very easy to get some snap oversteer, and if you're too far off the apex, you just flat out lose time and you can get an off track on corner exit. So I try to be as close to the apex as possible, but I actually try not to hit the curb. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know about others. So yeah, let's move on to a Rouge, Medallion, and Camel. Very easy to lose time depending on how shallow or deep of an entry you take. This is just flat out. So I try and start turning right where the lights are. I've taken different lines through on Rouge. I try to use as much curb on the first part of the corners, the section really. It's not really corners per se. It's possible. Sometimes I try not to hit the curbs. The other two to three curbs. There's actually a third one on exit. I feel that sometimes it scrubs speed. Other times it feels okay. I think this one I kind of did hit the curbs, so this is relatively straightforward. You don't, no braking, just keep going. This ain't GT racing. So the comb. As you can see, I'm starting to brake. My braking marker is where the curb starts, or just, yeah, where the curb starts is usually where I start braking. It's better to, you can brake a bit later, but there is that opportunity where you'll kind of struggle a bit in the next complex through the comp. So if you brake where the rumble strip starts, at least you'll have a chance to position the car in the spots where you want it to be. If you overshoot this braking point, you're gonna lose quite a bit of time in the next in the right and then the left. So it's obviously this is going to be a spot where you can overtake, depending on who it is, of course. But for the most part, if you wanted to take or use a push to pass, I've seen it enough times that you know it's coming. So it's gonna be a battle of who's gonna break the latest. So won't exactly tell you that part, but yeah, just be wary. This is a prime overtaking spot. So 6 down to second, hit that curb, hit that curb. This section is also pretty challenging. It's very easy to go on throttle on this right hand corner, but you run the risk of getting a bit of understeer and going into the gravel, which you will lose time. So the ideal way to take this corner is to actually let it roll a little bit and then mid apex start accelerating. So lift, accelerate, third, fourth gear. Over here, you can actually technically start braking as late as the curb to the left. Here, I kind of start braking here, where you see that little arrow screen. The top of the arrow screen meets the curbing. I just do it just to save a little bit of feel. So I kind of do. There's quite a bit of coasting that I do throughout this lap. So fourth down to first. Try and hug that inside curb to the right. Had a little bit of a lock up there. Take your time here. Do not try and accelerate too quickly, or else you'll mess up the next corner. Also to note that this section, try not to go all the way to the left of the outside curbs, because of just how this corner works. I don't exactly know the name of it, to be honest. I can't pronounce it, but if you try and move the car all the way to the left, where the left side curbs are, you're just losing time because of spending more time trying to get to the left side of the track, and then you're going all the way to the right. So stick to the center. You'll shave a bit of time there. So here, this is also another tricky part of the track. It's very easy to take too much speed. One of the things that I've been trying to adjust myself through this car is from some of the advice that I listened from iRacer turned professional race car driver Glenn McGee. Try and what he basically does is that he tries to maximize his speed on corner exit, which does basically slower on entry will help you go faster on exit. So yeah, I guess throughout this setup guide, I'm trying to back up my entries a little bit to make sure that I can go as fast as I can on corner exit. So just a dab of the brake here. I haven't been able to perfect the lifting point to scrub enough speed to maximize corner exit speed. Be wary on this left-hander. Try not to take too much curb to the left. It does unsettle the car a little bit. Just try and keep your car as close to the white line on the exit of the curb as you can. This because this section is also very easy to get an off track. So if you're going too fast, you will get an off track. It's 21 laps, so incident limit is 17x. So try not to get an incident point every lap. So try and take as much curb as you can without getting an off track. And then you're going to be 4th, 5th. We're going to go to Savalot. No, Puhan. My mistake. Learning my corner names. So here, I start braking right here. So kind of in the middle of the corner. That's when I start my braking application. This is another tricky corner just because it's really dependent on setup. If you have more of a stiffer chassis, this corner shouldn't be an issue. But if you're just because a stiffer spring package helps with the high speed stuff, so I run relatively soft springs. Not the softest spring package I usually use, but just because I kind of want to, or else I'll really struggle in corners like Puhan. So what I usually do is that I kind of brake a little bit, go from 5th to 4th. With this set, it will push a bit on exit. So if you think you might get an off track here, you either you take the off track and try and not lose too much time, or alternatively B, just short shift to a higher gear, lower revs. You can it'll help a bit with turn-in. So either way works fine, but there's advantages and disadvantages to both. So 4th. So I start going on throttle right here. I'm off throttle. I'm basically coasting here, and then right after I'm on throttle. This is probably right at the apex. Take as much curb as you can. Here I took quite a lot. If you accelerate too early, it's easy to push and get a lot of understeer, and so right in the middle of the apex, just go. I kind of was pushing here as well. It wasn't ideal. So here, same thing as a couple other corners on the track. Start braking when you see the curbing on the left. 6th down to 2nd gear. Once again, this set in general is kind of a bit prone to entry understeer, so especially later on the runs. So just be mindful of it. If anything, back up your corners a little bit, or lower the front bar, anti-roll bar if you're not too sure what that is. Don't take too much curb. So once again, if it's gonna understeer a little bit in that first section, this left-hander will understeer even more. So Just be wary of it. That was lots of understeer there. So here, this is another tricky corner. Wow. So here you kind of want to brake before you get to the rumble strips on your left, just because if you're braking at the rumble strip, you're probably braking a bit too late. So yeah. So you'll be going from third down to second. This is another part where it's really easy to get another off track. So, and the other thing is that it's very easy to get a bit of oversteer if you're accelerating a bit too early, especially with my set with field map 1. It's not a lot of people can get used to it. So third down to second, touch the curb a little bit, not too much, just graze it, and then you're gonna. So here I kind of delay it a little bit. I kind of delay, like I don't go from 0 to like 100 on the gas pedal. I kind of want to gradually increase the amount of pressure I put on the gas just to avoid the oversteer. You lose a bit of time, but you keep the car on track. And this is straightforward. You just want to go all the way from second to sixth through Blanchement, and then we'll be going to the bus stop chicane. Probably the toughest part of the track. So, this will probably take a bit. Ah, my goodness. Okay, so here I don't really have a point. So you see the 150 there? I guess you can call it the 150 point. A bit after that, I start braking. So maybe if you count it, oops, if you count in your head, this is bad. So I'm just gonna go all the way back. Apologies. So you see the one, where is it? So here. So this is maybe around 2 seconds or 3 seconds right after the 150 board. If you can't see the 150 board because of the shade, there's at least this red thing. There's really no other braking points that I can think of. I kind of don't like using shadows because it's maybe it's different weather. In different weather, and I don't like relying on them, so I rather rely on brake markers or trees or something like that. So let's go back into cockpit. So you kind of want to start braking here. 6, you're going to go down to second. I actually do make a mistake here. I kind of overshoot my braking point, so a bit closer to the 150, or you can start braking at the 150 and then start moving, inching a bit closer to optimize your personal braking point at this bus stop chicane. So I'm almost at full brake pressure, around 90%. So here I kind of overshot it a little bit. Ideally, this is my personally one of the most challenging corners on this track. If you take it too shallow of a line, you kind of bottom out. You kind of feel like your car is bottoming out, and then you spin. And obviously, if you overshoot it, you lose a bit of time there. So what I usually do is, to get an optimal time, is coast. Make sure that your right front is not on the curb. Get as close to it as you can. It's just the nature of the set, or my driving, or both. Coast there. Here you can take the curb. You can tell how much wheel I'm turning. It's over 90 degrees to the left. Be careful on the exit of the bus stop chicane. It's very easy to get to accelerate too early, because if your wheel is not straight and you're accelerating, you will just spin. So make sure that your car is straightened out before you power off on exit. And that is a lap of Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask. I'm not the fastest. Christian Steele can run 8/10 faster than me, but his lap has an off track, so it's not valid. So I'm pretty sure with this set, this can run mid 55s. Ideally, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Pretty sure you can do it in the race with push to pass and whatnot. So there are things that you have to be wary with this set. If you need any adjustments, maybe just look at the spring rates, look at the ballast, look at the differential, all that standard stuff. And maybe if you want to, if you're understeering, oversteering, there's always wings. I don't think you need wickers here, so I don't recommend not touching those. Just touch the wings. The front down. You also have the aero calculator to have a look to compare what your downforce is, your front downforce and your downforce to drag ratio. So you can always look at that. Dampers. If you know what you're doing, touch them. If you don't know what you're doing, don't touch them. That's usually how it goes. So Spa is a relatively popular track. This week there is the iRacing Petit Le Mans, so not sure how participation over the weekend will go, but Spa is Spa. I know a lot of people like it, so hopefully we can see you on track. Hopefully this track guide has been useful, and hopefully I didn't ramble a whole lot. I tried to limit that towards the iRacing content side of things. So once again, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment. If you want more track guides whenever IndyCar is on the road course, feel free to subscribe. There's always other content. I do have a bit of a backlog. So if you want to get more iRacing content, whenever it comes, feel free to subscribe as well. Hopefully to see you on track. Once again, IndyCar is probably one of the most fastest and exciting open wheelers on the service. Much faster than the Skip Barber, much faster than the Formula Renault, as well as the Pro Mazda, and also does not have the complex adjustments that you have to make with the McLaren F1 car, McLaren MP430. So it's best of both worlds. We race on road, we race on ovals. So it's a car that can do pretty much anything outside of maybe dirt racing. So once again, thank you guys for watching. We will hope to see you on the track.